Hey, RetconRaider here, with special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Dragon Matrix 7, Mathew Smith, Revenant, Alois, Drakiith, Erie V23, EgonAlter, Emile, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Nathan Welch Jr., RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, let's get started. And welcome back to Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. As today we kick things off with another hard-earned level up, level 14. Not the most eventful of our level up sequences, but an important step towards our eventual ascension to myth-fueled godhood. That said, let's run through these real quick. Then we need to pop back over to Dresden to see what's going on with our most angelic host. And with Aru, because she wanted to talk too. Alright, so first up we've got our preposterous protagonist, Vex Godglove, who picks up his 10th level of Baseline Hunter. That nets him a modest +1 to base attack, +1 to fort, and +1 to reflex. It also finally gets him access to 4th level spells, with Aspect of the Wolf being the most important. Plus the basic Raise Animal Companion ability. Something which we haven't really needed thus far, but it's a nice one to have just in case we do. Skills are skills, not much to say there. Vex retains his lead as the most mobile and athletic member of the party, as well as the most nature savvy. With spells, we don't really need much from the level 2 list, so I just went ahead and grabbed Natural Rhythm. Not sure we'll actually get much use out of it, but I've never really tried it before, so I thought it might be fun. And then more notably, at level 4, we pick up Aspect of the Wolf, which we've been anticipating for a while now, as well as Freedom of Movement, which Aru already has, but which we could certainly use more of. And that's it for Vex. Except, of course, for Kaz. Jumping over to our most bespeckled of battle cats, Kaz picks up yet another level of Bully, which nets him a basic +1 to base attack, fortitude, and reflex. He also bumps his mobility and perception as usual, but neither is really high enough to make him party lead. That's it for Kaz. After that, we've got Regil, our pint-sized Paralictor. Regil gets his 8th level of Beast Rider, which nets him a +1 base attack and fortitude, as well as the Steel Glory ability from Order of the Cockatrice. This is one that we've been waiting on for a while, because it's yet another way to trigger crit storms. Whenever an ally crits an enemy that Regil is also adjacent to, Reg will then immediately jump in with an attack of his own. I'm assuming that will stack with the bonus attack he would also get from Outflank, but I haven't actually tested it yet. Skills are skills, not much to say there. Regil's still kind of all over the place, but it's functional. And that is pretty much it for Regil. Steel Glory was his big get there. But we do still have Zorm, and his level up is slightly more exciting because he's actually just hitting level 13. He doesn't get any combat bonuses this time around, but he does get a new feat. And in this case, we're finally picking up Shatter Defense, which will make it a lot easier for him to slaughter shaken or stirred opponents. He also gets the usual bumps to Athletics and Persuasion, with the latter skill effectively bumping up to a net +26 on his Intimidation checks. Not too shabby. And that's it for Zorm. Moving right along, we get to our Fey Firestarter, the Eldritch Orphan, Ember. She continues following the path of the Stigmatized Witch, which gets her +1 base attack and +1 will. She also gains access to 7th level spells, as well as yet another Hex slot. Her skills likewise continue along the same track, keeping her as the party lead for both Religion and UMD. She's not really great at either, but she is serviceable. I mean, she got us through Blackwater, can't really complain. The Hex was kind of tricky, since I haven't really made much active use of those lately, aside from Beast's Gift, obviously. Nothing else on her list was really jumping out at me, so I eventually settled on Ice Plant. A little overdue, and we don't have room for that ring that bumps it, but it can get her up to AC 23. Not much, but I figured that extra +2 certainly can't hurt. For her new spell slot, she automatically gets Firestorm, and there are no other notable fire spells on the list. So I figured we just grab Heal instead. Slightly redundant, since we've already got Darren in the party, but this will be good for those rare occasions where Darren gets murdered in the face. Speaking of which, that brings us to the big D-bag himself, the diabolical Darren, who pushes up to level 14 in Oracle, which likewise nets him access to +1 attack, +1 willpower, and 7th level spells. He remains our most worldly and persuasive of characters, which certainly seems appropriate. And for his new spells, he automatically gets Greater Restoration, again as a fringe benefit of his class, but we'll just continue stacking on top of that and grab Resurrection as well. Again, haven't really needed it, but good to have. And that's it for Darren. Jumping over to Helpful real quick, we've got another really basic level up. Again, level 14 in Bully, grants +1 base attack, fortitude, and reflex. But not much else. Skills get bumped a little, but not enough to really make any meaningful difference. And that brings us over to Waljif, who picks up his 13th level of Eldritch Scoundrel. That nets him a whopping no combat bonuses, but he does finally gain access to some fun 5th level buffs. Skills are as straightforward as ever, and he just barely retains his title as the party's lead trickster and arcanist. For his new spells, I ended up focusing on greater enduring compatible buffs, which leaned me towards Angelic Aspect, slightly redundant but still potentially useful, and Communal Stone Skin, expensive but very useful. I'll also note that I ended up slapping the old Grimoire on Waljif's belt as well, which gives him a bunch of extra 1st to 3rd level spell slots, most notably meaning that he can now cover the whole main party with greater enduring protection from evil. And last, but certainly not least, that brings us to our heartful Hellraiser, Arushale. Her build was pretty much set when we first got her, so we'll just continue following that track, which nets her +1 base attack, +1 fort, +1 reflex, as well as a bonus ranger feat. Skills are skills. Aru retains the crown as the party's most stealthy and perceptive of voyeurs. Our options are pretty limited on our bonus feat, but I ended up settling on improved precise shot. We're starting to run into a growing number of enemies who have built-in concealment, so that'll help her stay on target. And that's pretty much it. Again, not the most eventful level up for our merry band of murder hobos, but a lot of nice little bumps and boosts across the board. Hopefully that'll help us handle the next big difficulty spike I'm anticipating as we start heading towards Act 4. And into Treasures of the Midnight Isle, I suppose. That's a pretty combat-intensive DLC, so I'm sure we'll see some slightly more daunting challenges once we get into that. Regardless, as always, feedback is welcome. Feel free to let me know what y'all think of the choices I made here, or what you might have done instead. I can't guarantee I'll end up acting on every suggestion, of course, but I do have some vague plans to fine-tune a couple of our builds as we get further towards Act 4. That said, let's get back to Dresden and see what's waiting in the wings. Oh, scratch that. I guess we're doing this first. Oh, it's this guy, Forn Autumnhaze. Sitting and waiting for us just outside of the Ivory Sanctum. That's not weird. Let's maybe take a few precautions real quick before we approach him. Hey Forn, what's up? Before you, exhausted and seated on the ground, is none other than Forn. He looks up at you in surprise. Commander? I wasn't expecting to see you here. It appears my luck hasn't run out just yet. May I ask for your help? You notice a sizable amount of blood pooled by his legs. A belt is tied around one leg below the knee, but that doesn't appear to have stopped the bleeding. Yeah, that looks pretty nasty. What's this, the third time you've been maimed since I met you? What happened this time? I was tracking Kaylessa and found her lair not far from here. Again we fought, and again she was able to wound me. She is following my trail here as we speak. Is she now? Forn has lost a lot of blood. Judging by the pool around his boot, he should have collapsed into unconsciousness long ago. He must be a truly resilient fighter. Exsanguination is more of like a suggestion, as long as you have sufficient will to ignore it. So much blood. He should have lost all his strength and collapsed by now. How odd. Is he really that strong? Considering he's been injured every time we've met him, I'm going to say no. Forn's strength has failed him at the worst possible time. He has stopped to rest in the middle of an open area, where a deadly arrow may come flying from any direction. And anyone approaching him to help will likewise be in danger. Gotta say, Forn, that's not looking great. You've lost a frankly impossible amount of blood. And you somehow dodged all the nearby cover and sat yourself down in an open kill zone. He can't be trusted. An elf seems to have appeared out of thin air. She shoots Forn a hateful glare. This is a trap. Forn is an assassin of the Winter Council, and he's come here to kill you. What? No way. Grabbing his weapon, Forn shouts out forcefully. Watch out! She's stronger and deadlier than she looks. Slay her before she kills us both. Forn, buddy, I'm trying to have a conversation here. Do you mind? His wound is just for show. He's unharmed and full of strength. His goal is to lure you in so his cronies can attack you. I bet they're hiding nearby, waiting for the right moment. Kaylessa surveys the seemingly barren landscape suspiciously. Forn chuckles coldly. An ambush? Who is lying to us? Her? Or our own eyes? I don't know, Forn. I think my eyes might be seeing things slightly differently than yours are. So, sorry, you were saying this is a trap? He's a cold-blooded assassin sent by the Winter Council. That cabal of scumbags dispatches him whenever it needs an inconvenient truth covered up. And as for anyone unlucky enough to learn such truths that might sully our people's good name, well, he washes it all away with their blood. Forn mutters, his face scrunched up in contempt. Another lie. Will you ever tire of your deceit, accursed wretch? Oh wow, that is quite a bold statement from Forn, all things considered. What's your angle here, Kay? You spared me. Let's say I'm repaying my debt. She gives you a stony look. Or do you think that, since I'm a drow, I don't know the meaning of honor? I didn't say that. There's no need to get all melodramatic about it. But fine, yes, you owed me one, now we're even, I get that. I didn't really need your help, but I appreciate the gesture. How about you, Forn? You want to keep up this charade, or are we finally going to get this settled? And there it is. Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal. Forn rises to his feet. His movements make it obvious that his injured leg was nothing more than a ruse. That is a shame. If you had just believed me, this would have been over more quickly and less painfully. On that we agree. It's unlikely that my associates will grant you an easy death now. Not hiding his contempt, Forn nods in the direction of the dark elves that have appeared out of the shadows. Forn, buddy, I already had a pretty low opinion of you, but are you really this stupid? I was tasked with keeping the secrets Kaylessa discovered from getting out. Knowing your reputation, I was certain that you would otherwise have unearthed them in short order. Therefore, I had no choice but to do this. No one is to blame for this. It's just the way things turned out. No, I'm pretty sure I know who's to blame for this. It's you and the Winter Council you work for, is that right? Forn's voice is full of pride. I serve my people and no one else. Being an elf is not just a privilege, it's an obligation that I bear with honor. No matter how heavily it may weigh on me at times. Kaylessa's words are cold and biting. Liar! You serve a pack of unscrupulous scumbags. A clique of self-righteous schemers. In order to protect their lives, you murder the innocent. And then you hide behind words like duty. Duty. Wow, so I'm really getting high-roaded by the dude who literally teamed up with a bunch of drow cultists? Gotta say, Forn, I feel like that takes a lot of the weight out of your whole elven righteousness shtick. His voice trembles tragically. I did not seek this perverted alliance, yet it was inevitable. These extreme circumstances forced me to end your life. Anamora also sought your death, so joining forces was mutually beneficial. If things were different, I would be the first to rise up against her, but it just so happens that you have suddenly become a greater threat to my nation than she is. Kaylessa is scowling, her tone acerbic. The Winter Council believes that honor is the perfect shield against any accusations of ignominious acts. Forn, buddy, I'm not sure I'm really following your thought process here. You brought me on because Kaylessa was too strong for you. So what makes you think you can take out me? I would have preferred not to have involved you in this matter, and to put her to death myself. Then I wouldn't have to kill you as well. Forn sighs quietly. But after my first clash with Kaylessa, I realized I didn't have the strength. Thus, I decided to use you instead. And I provided some motivation. I set up those skirmishes with the drow, so that my words would seem more plausible. Why not send the cultists after Kaylessa instead? I regret that I had to stoop to such baseness. But even more, I regret that it was unsuccessful. Yeah, it is a crying shame that you weren't able to successfully trick me into murdering an innocent woman, or getting myself killed in the process. You can't tell by looking at me, but I am completely broken up about it. Forn addresses you in a calm, somewhat sorrowful manner. I am sorry for having to do this. Believe me, I take no pleasure in carrying out this order. But circumstances are stronger than our desires. It's cool, dude. Don't beat yourself up over it. I'll take care of that for you. You okay over there, Kay? I'm sure she's fine. And then Forn took 4 axes to the face. Oh, he's back up. Good for him. These guys might be slightly outclassed here. No, they did scale them up slightly. They're rocking about 100 hit points. I guess they just really didn't scale them up enough. Yeah, this is sad. Let's wrap this up. Even in the face of death, Forn maintains his melancholic tranquility. I knew I would die like this, on the edge of the world, defending the threads of nobility that weave my race into a single glorious nation. Well, at least I do not die in vain. You sure about that? Because I feel like you kind of failed at every single thing you set out to do. Kaylessa's alive, I'm alive, Anamora's alive. With a mournful look, Forn says, "You wouldn't understand. You are not of my people." Okay. Well, if it's any consolation, at least now you won't have to explain this mess to your bosses. That was the Winter Council, right? He just smiles sadly. You think that, since I'm at death's door, I will reveal the secrets of my superiors? You're mistaken. I and others like me know how to make our hearts stop beating before any treacherous words can spill from our mouths. I will remain loyal until the end. Am I supposed to be impressed? I also know how to make your heart stop beating. Regil suddenly gives Forn a quick salute. Upon meeting your gaze, he calmly explains. He may have been an enemy, but I have to recognize his commitment to duty. He is a good soldier. Fair enough. Forn closes his eyes, and a quiet, peaceful breath escapes his lips. His chest stops heaving, and the fingers he had wrapped around his weapon go limp. There's a deep bitterness in Kaylessa's voice. He even managed to die gracefully, despite being a complete scoundrel. Yeah, that's rough. Hey, you want to fill me in on what this whole thing was about? Forn wasn't a Dark Hunter. He was just a hunter. He served the Winter Council, a powerful elven organization. It wants me dead because I've learned of a very dark secret. That's why they sent Forn to kill me. And everyone I could potentially have told about it. Meaning you, soldier. Maybe add some details, please? With a weary sigh, she says in a hollow voice, I was born in Kyonin, in the blessed forests of the elves. I was different back then, pure and noble. But no matter how beautiful and fair Kyonin was, it had its share of injustice, cruelty, and crimes committed with impunity. And I never could stand crimes going unpunished. I joined the Sunset Wasps, a secret sect of vigilantes dedicated to Callistria. By night we would bring justice to those whom the law had failed to punish. Liars, traitors, molesters, murderers. But the further we went, the more our doubts grew. We asked ourselves, how reliable was the information we were getting? Could there have been any mistakes? Alas, it was too late. The whole time we were puppets in the hands of a priestess of Discari, by the name of Anamora. The monster had been toying with us, using us to kill innocents. The wasp was revealed to be a locust, and we were unmasked as criminals, outcasts. We were wanted and had nowhere to turn. The only option was to bend the knee to Anamora, who promised us protection. I was the only one who refused, but I was captured and taken by force. Then, under Anamora's watchful eye, our apprenticeship began. We did dark, horrible things, bathing in violence and spite, myself included. I did them too. At first I was controlled by magic, but then they broke me, and the dark fate, the curse of our people, took us one by one, until finally it embraced me as well. When I saw the monster I had become, I mustered what remained of my will and fled. I wanted to tell everyone the truth, tell them how we were caught in the demon's trap. Let the world know about the dark fate. But Anamora's hunters, my former comrades, they came for me. And they weren't the only ones, as it turned out. Tell me about Anamora. She is a true drow, one who never was a normal elf. And even among drow, she's a dangerous monster, the deadliest of Discari's servants. Fear her. Her flesh nurses swarms of terrifying creatures. And her mind. I've learned the danger of her guile firsthand. And the Winter Council? What do we know about them? The Winter Council is a legend, but few doubt its existence. It's said to be a clique of influential elves of Kyonin, a mysterious group that watches over the interests of elven kind, protecting them by any means necessary. Murder, espionage, blackmail, no tool is excessive for them if the reputation and honor of the elven nation are at stake. When I decided to tell the world the truth about the dark fate, the bane of our kind, I signed my own death warrant in the eyes of the Winter Council. They don't want elves to be tarnished by their association with the ignoble drow. They're too scared of being held responsible for the crimes of their dark cousins. It's better to hide this dangerous truth and destroy everyone who knows it. Cool. Can I know it? It's been assumed since time immemorial that the drow are either a degenerate branch of our kind, or an aberrant perversion, a mockery fostered by the dark gods. But the truth is that the chasm between the elves and the drow is much smaller than one might think. Any elf can become a drow. Absolutely anyone. Whenever an elf commits unthinkable evil, letting darkness into their heart, they may one day transform. The dark fate is the state of the soul of an unrepentant malefactor who detests the light. An elf like that is no different from a drow, both in appearance and in spirit. And thus, they become a drow. Wouldn't that mean, like, Jaethal would have been one? Kaylessa smiles mirthlessly. Her face shows the immense fatigue of the months of wandering, fighting for survival. Such cruel irony. The elves were trying so desperately to convince everyone that they have nothing to do with the drow, the most vile, horrid race in the world. And it turns out that the distance between a normal elf and a drow is but a single step. Okay, sure. Yeah, that might as well be a thing. So now what? Forn's dead. Secret's out. Now I ask one last favor of you. I still have friends left in Kyonin. Real friends, ones I can trust. Send a letter to Avanara, to the leader of the border defenders. Recount my tragic tale so it doesn't die as the Winter Council wants it. Since I won't have the chance to speak this truth myself. Because you will have to end my life now, soldier. She looks at you calmly, wearily. There is neither threat nor fear in her words, only a plea for, and acceptance of, the inevitable. Well, hold on a second now. How do you know there's not some way to reverse this? If there's a dark fate that they were keeping a secret, how do you know there's not like a light fate with less calories that turns drow back into normal elves? With a bitter smile, Kaylessa shakes her head. A light fate? Wouldn't that be nice? But no such blessing exists. The road into darkness only goes one way, and I've almost reached its end. The dark impulses in my heart have been growing stronger by the day. It's been getting harder and harder to remain myself, to resist the urges. I've spent all my strength. When I saw Forn dying, I almost howled in delight. I wanted to dig my nails into his face, gouge out his eyes, mangle him, and rejoice. It's not me anymore. It's the beast I've been turned into, and it will break free. Very soon. These are the last minutes of the old Kaylessa's life. Please, don't delay. And spare me the fate of becoming a monster. Is the curse that's damning you truly stronger than a passionate heart? Stronger than a pure soul? Even as a drow, you will retain your memory, your personality. You could still do some good and struggle against the call of evil as before. Kaylessa covers her eyes wearily. I understand why you'd want to believe that so badly. You're afraid that you might be damned too. I don't know. Maybe you will ascend from the darkness, but that path is closed to me now. I'm exhausted. I can't fight it any longer. Are you sure this is really what you want? We've still got options. This is one you can't come back from. The dark fate is claiming me. I can feel the malevolence and the hatred in my heart, growing fiercer with each day that passes. The memories of the crimes I was forced to commit are clouding the world before me. I refuse to tread this path any further, to turn into a monster. If you have any mercy, I beg of you, kill me and end my torment. She's right. She's in pain. I can see it in her eyes. This pain can't be healed, so it'll be a mercy to let her go. Gosh darn it, Ember. But fine. I guess as a fellow follower of Callistria, I can do this for you. Goodbye, soldier. Man. You know, just like I said back in Blackwater, I don't like these scenarios where they force you into this sort of mercy kill situation. Not in a high fantasy setting. We've got magic, we've got divine intervention, we've got Vex's thing with altering the fabric of reality. I really feel like there should have been some more ideal solution. I get why there isn't, but still. Second chance. A +4 Keen Elven Curve Blade. On miss, the next attack made gains a +3 bonus to hit, which stacks until you actually do land a hit. Interesting. You know, back when I was building Vex, I almost went with Elven Curve Blade. It just ended up taking too many feats. it was slightly cheaper to go with something like rapiers or kukri instead. +4 Mythal Chain Shirt. Okay, that might come in handy. And then just a boatload of additional sales fodder. Wow. You know, this encounter was definitely a bummer, but it was also extremely profitable. You know, in retrospect, inserting the Dark Fate into the Wrath campaign kind of makes sense. Because a lot of the pivotal events in Wrath revolve around Aurilu's research, which is focused on transforming living creatures via exposure to planar energies. You know, Vormirac was using that to transform soldiers, Xanthier was using it to create super demons. But it's not tremendously removed from the idea of elves being spontaneously transformed via exposure to, I guess, pure, unadulterated evil. Even if it's just incidental, it would be fun if they have like a lore object floating around somewhere about Aurilu studying Anamora's methods. We'll have to keep an eye out, I guess. Sorry, just had to bump up our carrying capacity so we could actually leave. But we're good now. Alright, folks. My throat's acting up a bit, so we're going to have to cut this short. But, hold on. Ah, right, yeah, she did ask us to send a letter. The elf Kaylessa's last wish was that her friends in Kyonin learned of her story. The commander is the only one who can recount its every detail. Which would get us 50 marksmen. That's not bad at all. And then our other option is to not send the letter, I guess. The Winter Council wishes to bury the truth about Kaylessa and the fact that she was turned into a drow by the Dark Fate. The commander's servants can ensure that all traces of her stay in Mendev are concealed. Perhaps the clique of powerful elves will be thankful and see the leader of the crusade as a potential ally instead of as an enemy. Which would get us 5 shadow dancers. Oh wow, they are extremely powerful. But I'm not sure we'd actually be able to recruit more of those. That's a Grand Tier unit, and I'm not sure what mythic path they're tied to. That aside, teaming up with the Winter Council just doesn't really feel like a Vex thing to do. But I suppose we have some time to think on it. At least until we're done extorting the dwarves. Alright, folks. Like I said, my throat's acting up a bit. I'm getting a bit gummy here. So we're going to have to cut this a bit short. We'll hit the pause button for now. I'll pop into Dresden, take care of our bookkeeping. I'll dump our vendor trash and all that. And we'll pick up here next time. See you then. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official websites. And if you'd like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things, or maybe even check out the Patreon, the YouTube memberships, or the Nexus GG page. Links are in the description.